All right, friends and fam, I want to do a video for you tonight about something important to me that I don't see a lot of on the internet, and that is field maintenance of knives. So everybody and their brother has like some sort of system to sharpen knives. It's a personal thing, right? It's kind of like diets. Like it's extremely personal. It's extremely visceral topic, but whether you have an Edge Pro Apex or some sort of work sharp system or one of those Russian deals with a wooden handle and or a Lansky or a Spyderco or whatever you have, everybody does it a little different. But I'm going to show you what I do in the field. Now, when I say in the field, it's not ideal, right? This is going to be kind of a long video, I'm sorry. But in the field, you don't carry a lot of crap. The only people who carry a lot of crap are people who are either living out of their pack, right? Usually military types, or people that are inexperienced. And it doesn't take more than one backpacking trip to realize that going in the woods with a bunch of heavy gear is just not a good idea. So anyway, tonight, one of my wife's friends was visiting, and she wanted me to make a fire. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm going to go out there and get some wood and baton it up and get some kindling going. And did the whole thing. I grabbed my Randall 14, which is probably the one possession in the world that I would really have a hard time not having. If you're a Christian, in Luke chapter 12, the Lord Jesus talks about how your treasure is the same as where your heart is. So if your treasure is all here and it's knives and guns and gold and bank account and stocks and stuff, that's kind of where your heart's going to be. And I want my treasure to be in heaven someday. I haven't done a very good job with that. But anyway, not to preach at you, but all that to say, I've got knives and guns and watches and all that crap, but there's one thing that I would be sad if the house burned down and I couldn't get it. And that would be my 14 Randall. This thing's been through a lot with me. We did some tours of duty together overseas in the Middle East, Southeast, Southwest Asia. But anyway, I grabbed this thing. I didn't know how to sharpen knives when I first got this thing, and it has a lot of, I made some mistakes with it, okay? Don't judge me. It's an old knife, handmade, hand-forged. For me, I was active duty military when I got this knife, and so they sent it right to me. I didn't have to wait. But it's just a beautiful piece of machinery, and I thank the Lord that... Anyway, I know I sound like a preacher, and I'm not trying to sound like a preacher, but I'm so thankful that when I look at this knife, I think of times where I was praying for my life, and the Lord decided to save me. So, enough of the preaching. Let's talk knives. So, I've taught some wood and stuff, and what happens is, when you're in the woods and you're making campfires, or you have to clean an animal, or whatever you're doing with your knives, they get dull. It's just the way it is. Depending on how you use them, they lose their edge, right? Let me get some paper. We're just going to do this live. So I beat and banged on this thing tonight. And then, of course, whenever you're doing that, a lot of times you're poking things in the fire too. So let's see how the edge is doing right now. Yeah. Okay. By the way, when you see people cutting paper, a lot of it is technique. Like, oh, look, it's real sharp. But it's not. The edge has been beat up. So, there's kind of the before, right? It's sharp enough. You're not going to be shaving with it, but it'll get it done. So, I don't want to have to move the camera around, so I'm just going to kind of show you. Well, I might have to flip the camera to show you how to do this. But what I take in the woods with me is I take one little stone. This is a Smith stone. Now, there is a stone inside the sheath. And I have a couple of these, but I don't usually use that because I will misplace it. And if anything happens and I need it in an emergency, it's nice to have. So if you don't have water, you're probably not doing much knife sharpening. So you need water, a little stone, and I'll usually have some sort of strop. I have a pocket strop that I keep in my fanny pack. I just admitted that. I have a lot of strops, but I just grabbed one off the bench tonight just to kind of show you. So stone, some water, and a strop. And to be honest with you, if I could only have one of the two, I'd probably take the strop. Strops are absolute game changer. So you're not trying to reprofile the knife. You're just trying to kind of get some of that stuff knocked back into the apex or whatever you want to call it. So what I'll do, you never want to put kerosene or diesel or honing oil or anything like that on a new stone, because once you do that, it's only ever going to be good with that, with some sort of petroleum product. So what I'll do is I'll take some water. I'll just put a little bit of water on that stone. That's it. And then what I'll do is, you're not reprofiling. You got to do this freehanded or else you're probably not in the woods, okay? What you're doing is you're just going to find that bevel that you have on the knife. And I used to sharpen with the stone on the bench, but if you have a big knife, it's really hard unless you got a big stone. So what I do is I lay it right on that knife blade, right about where the factory bevel, or where, now it's not a factory bevel, it's a bevel that I put on it. Get a little bit of water on there. And I'll just kind of give it long strokes as I'm going. Okay, now you don't want to come off of the knife because you can round off your tip. You got to have a tip on there. And I'll just give it little circles. And even sometimes I'll run the stone like this, like you're sharpening a sword, right? The big thing is you want to kind of knock that burr over. Knock that edge over to the other side just a little bit. So you should be able to feel that kind of a burr kick up on the other side. Which I can, kind of barely, but not really. This is pretty tough steel, man, so... What I'll do, I'm looking at the camera instead of the knife. Let me look at the knife for a little bit. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're just trying to kind of clean up that factory bevel. Or the bevel that you have on the knife. Not factory, I keep wanting to say factory. You're not making any, you don't have a chorus stone. You're not making any kind of crazy changes to the knife. And to be honest with you, if you're in the woods, you probably have, if it's a carbon steel knife, some sort of discoloration along that primary bevel. And when you clean that off, it's almost like if you were to take a Sharpie and you were telling where you were hitting. Obviously, that would be ideal if you had a Sharpie, but you're going to build up a little bit of like a area on your stone that's kind of like, so I'm flipping it. This side, all I'm doing is just kind of knocking it back. It smells like a campfire. You hear that? And you're building up like a little paste. Now when you feel like you really kind of got it, you'll be able to hear it. It's like a different sound. It doesn't give you the... It's more of like a smooth... And you can feel it with your fingers too. It's like the knife is like, okay, I'm good, I'm good. And it'll kind of tell you. You can look down there at the edge and see that it's... So anyway, there's my little paste. If you're looking into being more of a man or more of a gentleman, try to always carry at least one handkerchief in your pocket. Shut off this heater. It's hot in here. So, all right, now we're starting to get somewhere. That should be about it. Don't take a lot. This is just a little stone. It's like $10 on Amazon. I mean, I didn't buy it on Amazon, but I've looked at them. They're about $10. It's a little Smith's stone. Comes with like a little Velcro pouch. All right, now. Next step, your strop, which should be, if you're doing your stone at this angle, which is, it's a roundabout, right? We're not precise here. It's by hand. Then you're going to kind of turn up the angle just a little bit on the strop. And there's something on my strop. That's great. I have a 2-year-old, and she's always putting stuff on my work areas. Let's see if I can. Of course, with the strop, you're always pulling away from the knife, obviously. It's almost like, I don't know if it would be a better angle to kind of show you like this. And a lot of this is technique and it's feel. And I know some people have a hard time with that because they want it to be a digital world. It's so much easier if you say, run it through this, bench sharpener, or put it in this machine that puts a 20-degree angle or 15-degree angle or whatever. Then they're like, cool, I can do that. I don't need skill. I can just... But when you're out in the field and it's by hand, there are some pretty good field sharpeners. Work Sharp makes a really good one. It has like diamonds and diamond stones and ceramic, and it even has a strop on it. And it has guards to show you like what angle you're going to use. I actually like that thing a lot, but I just don't carry it. I just like to carry a little stone. And then I have a strop that's a lot smaller than this. But, okay. Oh, man. Boys, we're getting up there. Let's give it a couple more passes here. Obviously, this is a little bit easier with this big old strop. And you can take the strop and put it on the bench and run the knife on it and all that. You just do it however you want to do it. But I'm just showing you that it's possible. Fold this paper here. Hey, now we're talking. It's a little bit better, right? So just like that, just that little bit of time. Now we're talking about an edge that is more, it could be better. Let's hit it a couple more times with the strop. But I can feel that it's quite a bit more serviceable, sharp. Ooh, baby. I did fold that piece of paper, so I don't know. But, honestly, if I was on a camping trip or something, I would probably not be thinking at the same time that I am on this video. I don't want to waste a bunch of your time showing you a technique. I'd probably spend a half an hour doing it. Okay, you see that? So you saw what it was before. Just hitting it with that strop. Got a little hang up right here at the tip. And if you get something like that, you can always run it long ways where it's just like one stroke, right? So that way you're not just like harping on one area, which you can do, but in the finishing strokes, you want to do as light as possible and as long as possible on a strop. Now I hope this helps, guys. If you're using a smaller knife, which hopefully you are, this is a big old honking knife, or even a bigger knife. Sometimes, like I have a couple Cold Steel Trailmasters, and they have such a crazy angle on them that it's actually kind of easy to find the angle with the stone. But on this Randall, it's got this big old hollow grind right here, and it's just kind of a little bit harder, but this is a great knife. Okay, I think you know that it's sharper than it was when we started. Man, will it shave hair? I don't have any hair left, man. There's my hairline, and there's where I've been testing knives. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, baby. That's all you need to know right there. Now, I'm not going to preach at you anymore, but I will tell you that if you've seen some of my older videos, I'm trying to take them down. I was a believer, but just there's a difference in believing and like really trying to be a better Christian or live your life for God. So kind of trying a little harder these days. The older I get, the more I realize I am going to die, and I'm going to stand in front of the maker, and they're going to be like, so... And it's not going to be a good time. It's like, anyway, that's enough for praying or preaching to you. I know I said that earlier. One last thing. I've heard people talk about how they're big experts on knives and how they've got all this technique figured out. And a lot of times it seems like it's kind of theory. And I just want you to take some of these theories that you have and get out there and try to see if they work. See if they need to be refined. See if that machine that you have in plastic that you've never used in your bug out bag or whatever, does it work? Do you know how to do it? Is it effective? Do you like using it? There's an old saying, and I didn't come up with it, but I say it, I hear it all the time. The time that you need a skill to live, that's not a good time to start training in that skill. You know what I'm saying? Like hunting or sharpening knives or fishing or fasting or believing in God. You know what I'm saying? You die and it's like, oh, now I need God. And it's like, well, you know, all right. I told you I was done. Now I'm done. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the idea. I am not an expert. I've had plenty of people look at my videos and say, you're an idiot, dude. You broke the blade on that Sodbuster Jr. trying to straighten it out. I had one guy get on there and comment. He was like, what did you think was going to happen? And I'm like, well, I thought I was going to kind of bend it a little bit, you know, because that's what they do at GEC, but nope. And another guy was like, oh man, we got some real knife experts out here on YouTube making videos. And I'm thinking, I'm not a knife expert. Not even close. But if you have better ideas or if you got another technique or something that works for you, put it in the comments. Because I'd love to learn from you. You don't have to make a YouTube video to teach people. You can put a comment down there and I'll be like, that is a good idea. Or maybe I've tried it before and I don't want to carry the weight or I don't like that technique or whatever. But say whatever you want, man. And I hope you guys have a good night. And if you ever get a chance to get a Randal Made knife, let me tell you, you can just beat it and beat it and beat it up. And it just keeps on going, man. No problems at all. Hand forged. Ooh, that is like, ugh.